I'm not joking. Whenever you say or any of these people say it, I really feel they're talking about somebody else, and I still keep thinking in my mind, it's very small, but I keep thinking they're mocking me.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah, no. You may think that the person who has lesser money is not that evolved, but actually, if you think like that, coming from the position of power and privilege, then maybe you're not that evolved.
Right.
Well, you got a parent who came in, put their hand on their son's shoulder and said, "Beta, I'm so proud of you."
Yeah,
Yeah.
forget a
Well done,
hug
sir.
or whatever it is.
Forget about a hug, huh?
Yeah, no.
Forget about a hug. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
You only get whacked for doing something
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
You will never feel somebody like your father come and say, "I'm so proud of you, beta. You really made me proud." No way.
No.
You can fall into eternal love at the first sight. That's not possible.
And you don't even know what that person is.
Yeah.
You only come to know when you spend time.
Yeah.
Until then तो आपको पता भी नहीं है कि हाँ प्यार तो हो गया है, but घर पे जाके मालूम पड़ा नहीं इसके साथ तो मैं एक सेकंड भी नहीं बिता सकती.
So true.
Yeah, huh.
You're a completely different person when you're wooing.
And you're a completely different person after 3 months.
3 months.
So yeah.
Love story in its purest form that I have ever seen or done without the need to project that outside the screen has been Alai Payudev.
I don't know. I've dated all kinds of people. जो मुझसे बहुत अलग थे और कुछ जो but I've realized actually जब वो बहुत अलग होते हैं ना आप एक पॉइंट के बाद गिव अप कर लेते हो क्योंकि वो इतना अलग हो जाता है कि ना मैं कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज लगने लगा था. That's when it's a problem because
When you're really in love with somebody, you just can't seem to have enough of them.
Right.
I can see where an idea like that would have been originating because can you imagine a scenario when you're with the person and you're saying, I'm missing you. I think when
I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt
think
that.
people only who've gone through love will know what I'm saying. That you're sitting, you're holding the person.
and still you miss them.
And you're saying, I'm missing you.
Oof. What a feeling. It's so beautiful.
मैं romantic हूँ ना?
मैं भी हूँ.
Hello, Maddie, Fatima, Sana, Shaikh.
Hi.
Lovely to have you.
Likewise.
Now, Maddie, you were just talking about how we don't make many romantic films anymore. And especially we don't make many films that are appropriate, age appropriate for a 55-year-old is exactly what you said. And now you're here with Aap Jaisa Koi. So something manifested and happened or what?
Yes. I mean, when I heard the story, it had a different title. And I was wondering why it had a different title. More than the fact that it was age appropriate, there was the relatability to that character, to today's awesome amount of loneliness that all of us actually end up feeling. No matter how much we pad ourselves with the knowledge that we're living in a large family or with friends and everything, finally when you put your head to bed at night on that pillow, you suddenly realize whether you are as valued amongst the circle as much as you value them, in terms of the relationships. And you have an imagined relationships because of the social media. The communication with the same person on social media is on a different level as opposed to
In
when you
person.
meet them in person.
That's so true.
So you're living a dual life and then somewhere the realities all get blurred. That was the kind of subject that this was addressing as a film. It wasn't preachy. It wasn't redefining a new problem. It was just people who were living in a smaller town where the timelines are very different from people living in cities.
Right.
So there's no hurtling feeling every day. If you tell somebody to, like in this movie, my character will travel 4 hours from Jamshedpur to Calcutta to meet her for the first time. You ask anybody in a city to do that right now, they're thinking of all the lost opportunities in that 4 hours.
Yeah.
And tell them there's no network on the way, there's no way they'll take that journey. So to reorient myself to a world that actually exists like that and play this character who's calm and prejudiced in his own way because of his upbringing and conditioning and age appropriate was the reason that I really liked the script and I said yes to it.
So you kind of manifested this whole thing.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot of what is happening around me has been manifested now.
So, one of the comments when the teaser first came out was this: his smile has magic. R.Madhavan and rom-com, Blushing in Love is the best genre. Heart emoji, smiling face with heart eyes emoji. So, that's the kind of reception that he got.
But that's true.
That's true.
Yeah, and it's so exciting to see him on screen in this avatar. Because all of us are, especially people around me and myself, we are craving for a nice romantic film that is warm, जो हम लोग family के साथ बैठ के देख सकते हैं, जो हमने इतने समय से नहीं देखा है. The relationship with your laptop and the way you consume content is so intimate now. वो जो कलेक्टिव व्यूइंग होती है, वैसे भी थिएटर में लोग कम जा रहे हैं, उतना वो होता था ना कि पहले फ्राइडे है, फ्रेंड्स या पेरेंट्स के
Let's
साथ
go to a
जाएंगे,
movie.
हाँ वो कम्युनिटी वाली जो वाइब है वो वैसे ही मरती जा रही है. एंड आई थिंक नाउ पीपल आर क्रेविंग and they want that. So that's why even I am very excited that I am getting to be a part of such a film.
So when was the last time you saw a romantic film?
पता नहीं,
You
बहुत
don't-
साल हो गए.
English, whatever.
English. What was
Whatever.
it? Marriage Story, but that's also like not
That's
a
not-
warm.
yeah, that's
it's
like
not
a
a like
breakup kind of-
breakup sort of a
yes,
thing. So I
yeah.
haven't actually honestly seen a nice warm.
Like a Notting Hill
Yeah,
kind of,
no,
you
it's
know.
been
Can
a
you believe
while.
yeah, we have to reach back that much
Yeah.
Imagine.
for a romantic story?
99 types, you know, it's like, yeah.
Notting Hill or Pretty Woman or even Titanic.
Four
for
weddings and
instance.
a
Yeah.
4 weddings and a
Yeah.
funeral, Holiday. And there are some series that came off late. I forgot the name. It's all about this family and very good, very romantic, but cinema and even from whichever part of the world, actual romance that you could relate to, it's been years.
Yeah,
it's
it's
been
true.
quite, it's quite a long time,
It's
right?
been a while.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm blushing with those comments when they come. It's so one of the things I really like doing interview with you because you do such thorough work and your research is so subject appropriate, man. When you do with Vinod Chopra, your level is completely different. When you're doing with me, it's appropriate. It's wonderful to give that kind of interviews.
Well,
So yeah, those comments, is in for me out of body experience.
it's lovely, right?
No, I'm not able to see what they're able to see in me. During Rehna Hai Tere
I
Dil
think
mein,
if you saw it, you would not be that.
Yeah, that's true.
possible.
Right?
That's a very, very, very valid point. Huh? Maybe, but
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Whenever you say or any of these people say it, I really feel they're talking about somebody else, and I still keep thinking in my mind it's very small, but I keep thinking they're mocking me.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah, no, it's a very.
Maybe that's my defense mechanism.
Yeah.
You won't believe it, right? Coming from here, I'm asking my assistant Aleem, boss, aren't they fawning too much? Are they mocking me? It's like that. Because, at 55, forget at 55, at 35, I was not comfortable with those compliments.
Right.
So it really felt like, please understand where I'm from. I'm from a place like Jamshedpur, where giving a compliment itself was a big deal. Yeah. You parents never gave compliments to their children.
Yeah.
You never positive and reinforcement and all was not something that we are used
One
to.
fatka we used to get.
Fatka, matlab, you barely will you get a parent, and I'm saying it on record, will you get a parent who came in, put the hand on their son's shoulder and said, "Beta, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah,
You
forget
well
a
done,
hug
sir."
or whatever it is.
Forget about a hug and all. Huh?
Yeah. No.
Forget about a hug. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
You only get whacked for doing something
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
You will never feel somebody like your father come and say, "I'm so proud of you, beta. You really made me proud." No way.
No, yeah.
So-
I know what it's like because, when you get a 99, it's never like, oh, you got 99. It's like, why didn't you get 100?
100, exactly.
That's
That's the thing. Exactly, right? So I think it is also their defense mechanism is don't dwell in your success too much because this failure is about to follow.
Yeah.
Correct.
So for me also, it's like that. My condition to wondering, अब 55 पे तो ऐसा comments नहीं आना चाहिए ना भाई. It's like that.
It's good.
I know.
It's like,
I'm just saying, it's my way of.
I know,
Of dealing with
but
it.
tell
Like you
me,
said,
is it like different? Because you made a name for yourself with these romantic films, and that was in your late 20s, early 30s,
Yes.
whatever. Now, 20 years later, you're playing a romantic role. Is it still just, I'm just playing this character that is written on the page, that's all I'm doing? Or do these years of experience of being in a relationship, all these things also kind of tumble into your performance?
I think being a man who's lonely is something that I've witnessed from a lot for this film. Absolutely, your relationships come into play, but this one, Baradwaj, is I can't withdraw from any of that because it's a older man falling in love for the first time.
Right.
So the research that went into it is when I looked at all these people, very powerfully, well achieved, highly, successful people, and they fall in love for the first time and they're say 30. I have a brother who just fell in love at 44.
Wow.
You know what I see
Yeah.
common to all of them? They behave like teenagers only as far as their love and romance is concerned. I think nobody falls into a mature 30-year-old relationship love when you fall in love for the first time at that age. Did I make sense?
Yeah.
When you fall in love, you start with a teenage love in the first place.
Yeah.
So you'll behave silly.
That crush wala feeling.
No matter how old you are,
yeah.
you'll appreciate small gestures.
Yeah.
You'll be waiting for their messages. It's so strange that they're busy. You're in a different world altogether, but you'll still be waiting for the messages. You'll still be smirking when you're alone. You've seen this, but it happens to you. That's what I had to understand for playing this character.
Okay.
But not multiple years of my relationship with people. That didn't help me here because this guy's a loner.
Yeah. You know, the one of the lines that this film is about is Barabri wala
Wala
pyar.
pyar.
So I wanted to ask you, is like both of you, maybe you, Fatima, because Madhavan's been speaking. So, is Barabri really possible in a relationship?
Of course it is possible. Mutual respect. Of course, relationship में ना एक इंसान कुछ देता है और जो दूसरा नहीं दे पाता. And you know, you need somebody who's filling a part of you. That's how there is a very beautiful partnership. And only then a beautiful partnership can exist. अगर हम दोनों एक दूसरे को मतलब फुल करने की कोशिश करेंगे वो तो फिर कुछ बनेगा ही नहीं. सो बराबरी वाला प्यार ये नहीं होता है कि जैसी मैं हूँ वैसी आप बन जाओ, बट जो आप हो मैं वो एक्सेप्ट कर लूँ और आप मुझे मेरे जैसे
Is
एक्सेप्ट
it
करो.
like that for you? This based on this definition, is it
Yeah.
like that Jerry Maguire line, "You complete me"? Is it like that?
I actually believe that. Like
Okay.
sometimes, you know, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. You complete me in places where you complete me in a way where you empower me.
Okay.
Or, you know, your existence is helping me become me even more and even more beautifully.
Right.
So, and that's how a good partnership is what I believe.
Right. Now that we're talking about completion, Imtiaz Ali, the high priest of Bollywood love, he said that love is not about finding somebody who completes you, but something about compatibility.
Yeah.
That's more what he said. So, but anyway, since you're talking about Barabari, let's talk about some aspects of love. In this, there is a lack of Barabari or the lack of equality in terms of age, right? You're a little older than the character that she plays. Do you think age matters in a way? Because recently there was this Mani Ratnam movie called Thug Life that happened. And the Kamal Hassan character in that film is a certain age and he has an affair with Trisha. And it on screen, it's a relationship, but the internet just exploded with whether is it age appropriate, whether it is right for a movie to show such a thing, whether something like this is right, wrong, etc. And there was a big discussion going on or whatever. So why do you think this age disparity still makes people, even in this day and age, uncomfortable?
But and it exists.
Yeah.
मतलब हम लोग जानते हैं हमारे रिश्तेदारों में जहाँ पे 10 साल का बकायदा डिफरेंस
10
रहा
क्या,
है.
20 साल देखा
20 साल
मैंने.
का बकायदा रहा है और ये मैं बात कर रही हूँ मेरे मम्मी के या उनके बहनों के. तो ये एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है. और इनफैक्ट जैसे कश्मीर में छोटे गांव में मेरी माँ रहती थी और उसका परिवार रहता है, वहाँ पे तो बड़े नॉर्मली ये सारे मैरिजेस होते हैं इतने यंग में. But I think in the cities, it's more of a taboo than in a smaller town, I believe.
In cities?
Yeah, I think so. I could be wrong, but this is what I gauge from my family and my friends who are in Kashmir or say Jammu, in a smaller place. Like my mother is from Tral, which is like a very small village in Kashmir. तो वहाँ पे ये सब चीज़ें conversations भी नहीं होती है. ये तो given है ना. So I think that's why maybe you know, we are looking for equality and you know we want equal partners to take equal responsibilities. Maybe that's why it's becoming a taboo. I don't know, like it's very difficult to judge a thing like that in our society because we're so diverse. So I can't really answer that.
Do you have an answer for that? Why people frown upon?
I think the first thing that comes to your mind is a man is taking advantage of the moment.
Yeah. Correct.
And that, so that looks like, so when you say age disparity, then you're already assuming that the lady who got married to him has got married out of desperation or no choice.
Correct.
Or the fact that she is dependent on him.
Or as a child marriage. Like
out of no choice, desperation, or she's dependent on him. So in all three cases, it looks like the man is the predator. So it's frowned upon. I think that's largely like a stepmother is a word that is always associated with negativity.
Right.
Very rarely will you say, oh, I love my stepmother. You don't see that, okay? Although they could be extraordinary human beings. So I think it's in that same melee. So people immediately want to
like
react to it in a negative form.
What about economic disparity, like rich and poor? You spoke about Titanic and, you know, this extremely rich person, extremely poor person. That's another, that used to be a staple when love stories were being made. What about that? Is that still something that, because today we're talking about the world being more materialistic, and there was a recent very nice movie that I saw called The Materialists. And anyway, so what about that? I mean, do you think that can happen today where somebody with a lot of stuff can get married to somebody with absolutely nothing and they could still kind of
be equal?
hit it off or whatever.
It is possible. I think if your emotional intelligence matches, then yes.
Okay.
But if you're too caught up in the classist mindset के नहीं अगर आप मेरे level के नहीं हो financially और मेरे clique में नहीं बैठते हो तो फिर वो तो exist नहीं करेगा. But then you are not as evolved. You may think that the person who has lesser money is not that evolved, but actually if you think like that coming from the position of power and privilege, then maybe you're not that evolved.
Right.
You see, look at love stories. Hir Ranja or Adam, like apna Shakespearean love stories.
Romeo Juliet. Right?
Romeo Juliet. They're only the first stage of love. Their love story starts and finishes as soon as the hormones hit. I think you require the hormones to start the match. But that's just a very initial phase of love. You're driven by energies of a youth and the hormonal things, so you give your life for each other, all that happens. But in my opinion, that is barely scratching the surface as far as love is concerned. You tell me what happened to Hir Ranja after they got married, or if they got married. You tell me how long they
They
managed
died
to stay
before they
together.
got married, but yeah.
I'm saying if they were to stay alive and see what happened, explain that romance to me now. Explain when an 85-year-old man is saying, has your grandmother eaten? And you say, yeah, he's eaten. And she says, no, I don't think she's eaten. And he gets up and walks into the kitchen just to make sure that she's eaten and dawdles back all the way. That love, it takes a long time to build and sustain, man. So the disparities that makes people fall in love is the rebellious nature of a teen. You're a rich woman. To irk people, you'll want to fall in love with somebody, or you probably despise that life and you want to think. So the ones that happen because of that hormonal imbalance is just the first part of love.
Right.
You could do it out of rebellion, you could do out of disdain, you could do out of rebel because of your conditioning not being appealing to you. You could do anything. You could fall in love with an older man simply because you've thought that the younger men are completely floozies. Whatever. The initial fire could be any reason. But to sustain that over a period of time, which I think is truly the real form of love, is very, very rare. And for that to happen, then, you require the kind of love that Imtiaz was talking about, the kind of love that is a lot about giving up a lot of yourself.
Right.
Now, people complain about what I'm saying when I say this, but I know this is what happened to me. I've given up a lot of things that I thought was me. Like the fact that I have to be in control of this, the fact that I have to head this, or the fact that this has to be my decision. I have to learn to give it up, and then I realize that I'm happy with the outcome without having. So those are the things that I think the second form of love brings to your life.
So when they say love at first sight, as in I saw you and I fell in love with you the moment I saw you, we've seen that in so many Hollywood.
Yes.
So is that love or is that lust/chemistry, whatever it is?
Love, by definition, cannot be instantaneous, bro. In my opinion, okay, it's not. Only lust can be instantaneous.
Yeah.
But love, I fell in love with you, could be the beginning of the first stage of love. Right. That's all there is to it. I don't think you can fall into eternal love at the first sight. That's not possible.
And you don't even know what that person is.
Yeah.
You only come to know when you spend time.
Yeah.
Until then तो आपको पता भी नहीं है कि हाँ प्यार तो हो गया है, but घर पे जाके मालूम पड़ा नहीं इसके साथ तो मैं एक सेकंड भी नहीं बिता सकती.
So true.
Yeah, हाँ.
You're a completely different person when you're wooing.
And you're a completely different person after 3 months.
3 months.
So yeah.
And 3 months of your 3 months after saying yes to each other, you're a different person.
Yeah.
And 3 months after marriage, you're a completely different person.
Yeah. The story is also about opposites attracting. Is that, again, something that's been fed to us through a lot of movies? But how much opposite can a person tolerate before, is there a limit or is it just a...
I don't know. I've dated all kinds of people. जो मुझसे बहुत अलग थे और कुछ जो... But I've realized actually, जब वो बहुत अलग होते हैं ना, आप एक पॉइंट के बाद गिव अप कर लेते हो क्योंकि वो इतना अलग हो जाता है कि ना मैं कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज लगने लगा था. That's when it's a problem because the moment you feel if you're giving up something is a compromise rather than what I don't care because what you're giving to me is much larger than what I'm losing.
Yeah.
So it's just that I think.
And one of the things I liked about the trailer of Aap Jaisa Ko is that it ended on a slightly not that big happy note. There's a bit of a melancholic note there, and that was like, okay, that's intriguing. That's usually not how trailers end. There's a note there that lingers, and I thought that was interesting.
I think it's an intelligently cut trailer.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is this song here in this film, which is Jab Tu Sajan. And there is this part which I wanted to ask you, Maddie, because I know that this is going to get an interesting answer from you. There's a line that goes, "Main pichle janam tera hi tha, and is janam bhi dobara rahun." What do you think about that? Do you like this concept of love across births?
It's just my own personal opinion. When you're really in love with somebody, you just can't seem to have enough of them.
Right.
I can see where an idea like that would have been originating, because can you imagine a scenario when you're with the person and you're saying, I'm missing you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think when
I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt
think
that.
people who only gone through love will know what I'm saying. That you're sitting, you're holding the person.
And still you miss them.
And you're saying, I'm missing you.
Oof. What a feeling. It's so beautiful.
मैं romantic हूँ ना?
मैं भी हूँ. What a feeling.
When you reach that stage of a relationship, right? You realize that one janam is not enough. You start imagining ki bhai, what happens in a moment? Am I ready to live a life without this person? Because that's the natural progression of nature, for instance. And that puts the fear of God in you.
Yeah.
And you think the only way
Is to
is to imagine that next few janam also you're going to be with them.
like
Right.
I used to tell my ex-partner that I want to die before you because I don't want to feel the feeling of losing you while I'm alive. That'll kill me. So that's the intensity,
I think that's probably gave birth.
Yeah, to
कि यार
that
जन्म
idea.
जन्म के साथ रहेंगे भैया जो भी हो जाए.
Yeah, that's a good theory. But
Yeah.
you've also said that with all your relationships, whether it's a good one or the bad ones, you've always come out of them a stronger person.
Yes, always.
How is that?
क्योंकि रिलेशनशिप में ना आप सबसे ज़्यादा चैलेंज होते हो. आपके दोस्त आपको इतना चैलेंज नहीं करेंगे, आपके पेरेंट्स आपको नहीं करेंगे, सोसाइटी नहीं करेगी जितना रिलेशनशिप करता है. क्योंकि वहाँ पे जो आपकी बाउंड्रीज होती है ना वो ब्लर हो जाती है. कभी आपको लगता है कि आई स्टैंड फॉर दिस. But when you go into this room with your partner, you're not the person you present you are outside because आपके सारे layers, सब कुछ जो आपने guards बनाए वो सब गिर जाते हैं. तो I have realized that I have become a better and a stronger person, not only not hard, I don't get affected by anything. I do get affected. But I think I'm understanding myself more. I'm much more empathetic. I know what mistakes I have made. So I don't want to be I want to be a better person for my future partner.
Right.
So I do believe that the right person or even the wrong person really make you who you are.
Right.
And actually I work more. I do better. After every breakup, I got dangle, then it's good for me, I guess.
That's the theory.
It's good for me.
When I think of my favorite romantic moments, there's one in Rang De Basanti, before Tu Bin Bataye, where you propose to Soha. That scene is so beautifully constructed. It's like, Madam, agar aapke paas, I forget the exact line. It's like, एक minute है.
हाँ, तो मैं
सारी जिंदगी आपके साथ गुजार सकता हूँ. You ask her, and then you give her the ring. The way the thing is constructed is so romantic that whether somebody is, even a person incapable of love, is just going to sit in the theater and feel like, oh my God, I'm in love, right?
Yeah.
That kind of heart-swelling thing, I haven't seen in many, many years, where you kind of go to a movie and just
Like you
lose
feel
yourself in somebody else's love. That's one of the magic of the movies, right? Because it's not you, it's somebody else, but then it's almost like it's hitting you. When was, like in your films, have you had a moment like that, which is like a big heart-swelling moment?
No.
Never.
No, I've not played
You
such.
had quite a few though.
Very strangely, I've done about 4 romantic films in my life. I think it's Minnale Alai Payude in Tamil, Rana Tere Dilme, which is the same as Minnale, and Tannu Vajmanu. Rang De Basanti was like not a romantic film, it was a romantic scene.
Yeah.
Right? It had multiple other aspects to it. But somehow this romance title has stuck with me. I was just analyzing it myself. I haven't done any...
No, but that's a great scene.
No, it is. It is. I'm just saying that is one of the scenes or one of the aspects of that character, which was very well written by Rakesham Prakash Mehra. But I'll take it one step forward. When you say you associate something like that and you feel it. A well-written scene, well shot and well performed, is capable of making you feel the romance to a great extent. And one of the best examples of that is Lion King. When you see Simba and Nala fall in love in that waterfall sequence,
Yeah.
you literally feel the love, like, "Arey yaar, ye to pyar hai."
Yeah.
And it's so strange that they're actually animation characters.
Yeah.
But with voices, the right kind of music,
And the expression.
and the expressions, you're able to recreate
So
a very
true.
hardcore human feeling.
So
No?
true.
Yeah.
And I love animation films because of that. Because
No, I mean, I really felt romance.
No, yeah,
Like when she comes and nuzzles against him, you feel like, "अरे एक लड़की आ जाए जो मेरे साथ ऐसे कर ले यार." That I think that's it has to do a lot with mechanics also.
Yeah.
It also has a lot to do with how the two bodies, and I don't mean it in any other sense, fit together.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
Just
could be
magic.
the two most good-looking people on
but it
earth,
doesn't fit.
but the body don't fit together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So all that matters a lot. You can't actually plan that. कि चलो let's see if the bodies fit together. उस पर casting करते हैं. वो हो जाता है. You know what I mean?
It's rare and it's
Yeah.
magical when it
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
What makes this film a modern movie, a modern day
It's
romance?
a very good question. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how modern this is. I mean, in fact, the premise is so modern and so today that it is. I mean, saying the mechanics of it such that it's so today that you cannot take it away from it. But if I say that right now, I will reveal the plot.
Okay.
Which is why the trailer is very craftily and very cleverly cut to keep that one aspect of it away from the publicity of the film.
Right.
So it looks very plain Jane to you, but I assure you, it's literally a thriller. It's just incredibly, modern, current, very, very, what do you call it, seasonal, and relatability factor will be very high.
Wow.
Because of that one factor. That it'll just be ridiculously high.
Let's just end this on a note. Your favorite romantic film?
यार मैंने तो कुछ होता देखी है वही मुझे पसंद है.
That's
Yeah, that's my memory. Honestly, I don't watch a lot of films and shows anymore. Last thing that I actually genuinely enjoyed was Apple Cider Vinegar on Netflix only.
okay.
It's about a girl who's an imposter.
Is it a movie or a series?
It's a series.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. So, there are 2-3 series that I enjoy. I don't know when was the last love film that I've seen.
With you, if Karthik and Shakti from Alepaide were to exist today, do you think they would have made it?
I would very lovely to explore that, you know what I mean? But to answer your earlier question, love story in its purest form that I have ever seen or done without the need to project that outside the screen has been Alai Payude. To an extent, Pretty Woman also. The rest of them have a, projection feeling. Like here it looks like they're living within themselves,
Yeah.
and you have a voyeuristic camera looking into their lives. They're not dancing for the screen. They're not saying lines for the screen.
Samjha.
Or they're not saying a line. In fact,
It's not performative.
the lines are also not such that makes them into a hero.
Yeah.
Or a heroine, It looks like
Very
their
intimate.
life is going on and somewhere somebody put a camera there to see it. Minnale is not like that. Even though it's a romantic film or even Dilwale or all these films are not really like that. They're being performed and they work magically. There's no doubt about the effectiveness of that.
Right.
Only Alai Paide and to an extent Pretty Woman, it looks like they were just in love and the camera happened to find
Walked
them.
in on them. Okay.
Yeah, which is one of the things that I've hardly experienced after that. I've only seen performances. I've seen angles trying to glamorize every look and feel of each other.
That's not raw.
That was not raw. This was hardcore raw. Even in Minnale, it was a lovely romantic story, but the lines were meant for the audiences.
Yeah.
You don't use those kind of lines in real life. In Alai Payude, there is not even one line.
So-
And I think Aap Jaisa Ko is something like that.
Is something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I liked about Aap Jaisa Ko is like at least in the trailer, it was like seeing two very regular looking people.
Correct.
Because one thing that's killed romance for me somewhat in the movies is that everyone is so perfectly dressed and perfectly made up and
Manicured.
their physique is so that when it's almost like they're loving themselves first in front of the mirror and then they're coming out and loving somebody else. You don't see these slightly imperfect looking people.
Sorry, I was just going to say something. In Vivek, for example, the director who is extraordinary, has kept a shot in a room where my stomach comes in first. He's literally in that gym wala shot, no? He's kept it at an angle कि पहला spate आता है फिर इंसान आता है. I said, you sure? He said, हाँ sir. As a director मैं खुद ही बोल रहा हूँ कि that's my character.
Right.
I don't want anybody else to question whether I'm doing this out of intent or this is it. This is the guy who he is. So he's working out his Ali belly. So that. The second thing is the climax is in rain.
Yeah.
Nobody looks good in rain. No matter who you are, unless you're glamorously, you've got all the lights and lit up
But
and
वो
your
फिर भी
hair
नहीं
is in.
होता.
No. Romantically, nobody looks good in rain.
Yeah,
आप
yeah.
भले a dance number looks good,
Yeah.
dramatic, and the hair flying and
Yeah.
48 frames and all that. But we are trying to be real. Nobody looks good in rain because the hair flops. But the confidence of the director is saying, I'm creating the moment that I know in this moment nobody will look at you all in terms of how the rain is affecting your face. Only the
And
moment.
ऐसा भी नहीं कि rain beautifully आ रही है. कभी यहाँ से फचाक फचाक फचाक.
Yeah, that's how it rains. Right? It actually rains like that.
Yeah.
No?
So that was also very interesting.
Yeah.
Like it's going
So
inside your
you're
eye.
basically, stripped down to your bare soul and bottom.
Yes.
And then you see whether you're relating to the characters or not. So in this film, like you're saying, you don't find any dialogues that are meant to be like the most compelling dialogue that she's saying is, who told you that you can set my limits? It's probably the closest we've come to a filmy dialogue.
Yeah.
The rest of it is very
Conversation.
conversational.
Right. So look forward to the film. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rahman.
Thank you.
Thank you.